And welcome back to Who Would Win, the week of Who Would Win, the end of the week of Who Would Win. Oh man, it's always a relief to finish this crap up. So coming to us from, and I'm now realizing I think this might have been one of these. I think is I'm gonna actually move. No, actually, what's going on here? Birthday. Interesting. Oh, I just realized something. No, I did not. I don't know why there's two people here with the same thing here. Anyway, I digress. I think I know that this needs to disappear for now, this particular one. We'll get to it another point in time. But regardless, you know what? Actually, that's screw it. It's going to the speed round. I'll just do someone else for tomorrow's video instead. I'll add it back when we're done. Anyway, speed round 24. Let's just get into it. So coming to us from, I want to say it's Brain Art? Is that who did this? Light Yagami versus, let me move that out of the way. There we go. Pennywise, the dancing clown. Why is this in the speed round? Well, I don't really think the Death Note would affect Pennywise. He's an outer eldritch being. As far as I know, the Death Note doesn't affect Shinigami's either. At least I don't believe it does. And so also you have to actually know the person's name. And Pennywise isn't this thing's real name. We don't even know what its real name is. So right out the gate, the Death Note, even if it could affect Pennywise, which I don't think it would, couldn't, because Light just doesn't know this thing's real name. This would ultimately lead to Light's ultimate demise. So yeah, Light is probably gonna lose that one. Then coming to us from the Crane Fly, Alien Force Ben 10 versus Batman Beyond Scarecrow. What? I just want to be sure I didn't screw this up here. No, that is what you said. Well, first off, could Crane's fear toxins affect Ben? Yeah, in theory, he's human. You should be able to affect him. Would that matter in a fight? Not really. He'd still transform, be scared out of his mind, and beat the hell out of Crane. There are also probably aliens that the fear toxin just would not work on. So, like anything that's inorganic that doesn't technically breathe. So, yeah, no, Ben totally would win that fight. So, but yeah, I don't see any reason to really do an actual video on that. Then we have from it's a Turkisha Blue, She-Hulk versus Doomsday. Okay, this is one of those fights I can at least see the logic behind. Hulk has been paired up against Doomsday multiple times. A lot of interpretations seem to think that Hulk should win, but Doomsday usually pulls out the win. The long and short of it is that even though She-Hulk generally has a more of her personality when she's in She-Hulk form, she's far weaker than Bruce is. And therefore, she would be beaten to a pulp by Doomsday. There's no question in my mind about that. So, yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. Uncle and what? Is that Uncle and Hulk? No, what did I write here? Oh no, there's a Nuclearized Hulk writes next. I gotta write these better. Nuclearized Hulk asked the question, who would win a fight? M. Bison or Darkseid? At first glance, this is probably almost a stump for Darkseid, but we do know that M. Bison's soul can possess others and possess like other individuals. So the question is, would he be able to possess Darkseid? Because we know in an instant this fight would not go in his favor. He doesn't have the physicality, he doesn't have the stats, the scaling, the power, anything like that. And the answer is no, it would not. Darkseid can also manipulate souls if he wants to. He can destroy spiritual matter if he really wishes. So no, M. Bison would get completely clapped in this fight. So M. Bison loses. Before you go, well, this really is a speed round. Don't worry, we will be going over a couple that I will spend a little bit more in-depth time talking about. One of them coming up, not next, but coming up soon. So let's see here now. Coming us from Emmanuel de Husso. I think this J is pronounced an H. We have Yoruichi from Bleach versus Salem the Cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Now, if she's in her cat form, I'm not going to lie, she's still going to beat his ass. Salem, if I remember correctly from the series, cannot use magic. He is a witch. He's a warlock, or sorcerer, I believe, or warlock, whatever it is. He used to be able to use magic. He did. In fact, I'm going to look this up right now, so I'm not stupid. Salem Saberhagen. This is Saberhagen. That's the actual name, by the way. Is sent to live with Hildespen because she supported the regime as part of a refreshment committee. Thus, caring for his needs as a cat was her sentence. Despite his megalomaniac desires for world domination, he generally portrayed as having a good heart, being a loyal friend to Sabrina, giving him guidance, causing her trouble. In nearly equal proportions, Zelda stated that Salem is originally from Mars. Interesting. Salem talks about life before being a cat and attempts for world domination, as well as a little bit of troublemaker. 1 second here. Well, I want his actual history and background, if you'd be so kind, Wiki. But point being, yeah, he was someone who was a witch. He was formerly a witch. He was a male witch, but he was a witch. Again, generally, it should be a warlock. Yeah, he can't use magic, whereas Yoruichi actually can use all of her abilities in her cat form, most of them. She just doesn't have, like, dexterity of a human. And she can always just transform into her human form, where Salem can't do that. So, in essence, Salem would get crushed in an actual fight. Mind you, he'd probably be more flirtatious, like, oh, baby. It's like, oh, why can't I do that? Oh, the cruel twist of fate. Yeah, so that was from Draymond Killer 16. My bad. It's actually this next one that comes to us from Emmanuel Decuso. I'm going to say it's Decuso. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Who asked the question, who would win in a fight? Uncle Iroh or Yoruichi? Now, Yoruichi. Deku. I just had Yoruichi. Now, I was among the group of people who actually thought Zuko should have won that fight with Shoto in that death battle. Mind you, when it comes to the sheer output of power, Shoto did have him beat. I acknowledge that, but Zuko was also far better in hand-to-hand combat, and they didn't give him his swords, which I actually felt was a bullshit thing to do. And he just has better combat experience, honestly. But regardless, would I feel the same way about Iroh versus Deku? No chance in hell. Deku would make if we're talking about peak Deku would make mincemeat out of Iroh. First off, you're talking about someone who can access 100% of One for All. It would break an arm, but he can do it. Or a faux version of it using Fa Jin. Then you add an ability to fly with a combination of float and, well, for one, smoke screen ability, the ability to store kinetic energy, Black Whip, and, oh yeah, Gear Shift, which alters his speed to bend the laws of physics, pretty much. There would be no way on God's green earth Iroh could stand a chance against this kid. Not one. So, yeah. I know I got... I know you're here. I saw you. Where did you go? Who gave me this suggestion? It was... Where did I... It was Optimus versus... Oh, no, yeah, there it is. It's down the next one. Jeez, I couldn't see it. But from Rico, it's Optimus versus Arceus. Okay, this is one of the ones I will spend an extra minute or two talking about. Just because I admit that I think I've downplayed Arceus in the past. I still don't think he's as powerful as some people let on to be, but he is an individual who is the creator of pretty much the entire Pokemon universe and multiverse to some degree. Like, the Arceus you see is more or less just an avatar he uses to interact with the world. So he is, by all accounts, a multiversal level god. Even the Arceus you catch is probably a little bit more than an extension that he just decides, okay, I'll hang around with you till you die. So, yeah. But point is that he can kind of just do anything. Warp reality, affect the elements, time, all that. Make multiple copies of himself, turn into every Pokemon element he needs to. So he's he's not limitless in what he can do in theory. Optimus, while powerful, is not someone who can go toe-to-toe with multiverse or even universal levels of power. Even with the Matrix of leadership, he's not someone who could go toe-to-toe with Unicron. He's not someone who can go toe-to-toe with Primus itself. Even going up against, like, say, Megatron is difficult. So, while it would be an interesting kind of square-off, these two would ultimately just... Optimus probably wouldn't fight Arceus anyway, but if they did fight, Arceus would probably come out on top. Then coming to us from Antonio Spadaldo, we have who would win in the fight? MonsterVerse Godzilla versus Sonic. Okay, this is another one I'm going to spend an extra couple of minutes, seconds on, if you will. An extra bit of time. It all depends on what Sonic you're talking. You just said Sonic. If I composite Sonic, Sonic wins because of the Archie universe. If it's just using the Archie Sonic wins because of the Archie universe. But movie or just the standard game levels of Sonic? That is a much tougher call to make. I would actually lean more towards Godzilla. Why would I do that? Well, for example, we still haven't seen the peak of what movie Sonic can do. We've seen super form. We see he's fast enough that time kind of pauses around him at points. But he just wouldn't have enough power, even in super form, mind you, to deal enough damage to put Godzilla down until like his time ran out with the Chaos Emeralds. Because we've seen in a crossover manga or manga comic him fight and take shots from Superman. Granted, Superman's holding back, but even holding back a shot, and when you're Superman, should still put down a lot of individuals. And Godzilla just shook it off. So, not to mention, this is a guy who can literally blow a hole to the core of the planet. This is a guy who is literally causes tsunamis where he walks, or at least he is a planetary plus level fighter. So yeah, just movie Sonic has not demonstrated enough power to be able to take down Godzilla. So in that sense, at least MonsterVerse Godzilla. So in that category, I'd go MonsterVerse Godzilla. If we're going by just the games and like the scaling we get to the games where he's able to actually blow up planets, that does put them on a much more even playing field. The problem just comes down to super form is limited in time. That's all it comes down to. And Godzilla has shown enough durability to basically just take an ass whooping multiple times and keep getting back up, even when he's tired. So once Super Sonic is done, Godzilla could come in for the win. It would be a long drawn out fight, I think, but I do think Godzilla would beat that version of Sonic. But the reason it's a speed round is you just didn't clarify the Sonic, because most versions of Sonic outside of Archie, I think Godzilla probably does beat. When you factor the Archie world into the equation with the amount of reality warping shit that goes on in that series, Godzilla would lose that fight. At least the MonsterVerse version would. You composite Godzilla in all of them, now you have a very different question in general, but you did specify the specific version. All right then, coming to us from, oh god, who was this now? Home Starman. The question of who would win the fight, the Transformers universe, and I just use these posters, by the way, it doesn't mean anything, versus the Power Rangers universe in terms of stats. Now, this is one of those easy ones you can do. You just have to look at their strongest individuals. Strongest individuals, generally speaking, in Transformers are things like Primus, Unicron, individuals like that. Power Rangers, I do know, like, time travel exists multiple times in Power Rangers. There definitely are universal level threats, but Unicron's literally eating like an infinite amount of an infinite amount of the multiverse. He's eating like a quarter of it or something like that. I think they said he's like constantly eating it. And I'm not well caught up with my Power Rangers lore, mind you, so let me know if I'm wrong on this. I don't know if there's anyone truly multiversal in strength on that level. There might be someone who's multiversal, but I don't know if there's a multiversal level threat like a Unicron out there in Power Rangers. There are planetary level threats at the Yin Yang. There's solar system level threats, galactic level threats, even some universal level threats, if I remember correctly, but not multiversal. That being said, I speak from someone who hasn't watched or read Power Rangers in some time, so maybe I'm wrong. Either way, though, that's that one. And then the last two. This one comes from us from Noel Scott, who asked the question, who would not fight, Metro Man or Mr. Incredible? This one's actually pretty easy. Both are very strong, but Metro Man is a Superman, whereas he is, and I'm not just saying he's like a Superman knockoff. Someone Mr. Incredible is a Superman knockoff in his world. I mean, he is a Superman type character. He flies. He's nigh invulnerable, super strength. He moves so fast. Literally, he spent like a week's worth of time reading a book and finding himself in the span of seconds. That's just not something that exists in the world of the Incredible. Metro Man is clearly a being well beyond that of Mr. Incredible in terms of actual power. Now, granted, if these two would never fight each other, these two would very much work together, but still. Now, granted, I do think in Mr. Incredible is someone that if he landed a shot on Metro Man, Metro Man actually would feel it. It's kind of like when someone like Wonder Woman actually, or someone just super strong lands a shot on Superman. Normally he's so strong he doesn't actually feel it. He feels like the impact but no pain. I think if he like cracked Metro Man in the jaw, Metro Man would feel that, but it wouldn't be enough to put him down. So ultimately, Metro Man I think would win that fight. Last but not least, we got from Bosanova Lobeck, Beerus versus the Mask. Now I actually did this in my, and I haven't redone that in a while. Maybe I should. The tournament of winners and losers death battle, the death battle tournament losers and winners tournaments. Beerus wins. Beerus wins easy. Why? Because the Mask is a gag character, and he's the size of a parrot, but he's a gag character, just like Aurelia is. And gag characters don't work against Beerus. He's too powerful for gag characters. This means that nothing the Mask would do much to Beerus, or if anything, and B, Beerus could actually Hakai his ass out of existence. So that's just the nature of who Beerus is versus a gag character. That's flat out said in the anime that, he's too strong. Gag characters don't work against him. So ultimately, that's that. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. There I am. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Later.